Right, everybody, welcome back to the Eagles. Episode 3, we're at the halfway point of the season. We're actually a little bit over halfway. World Cup's finished. We're into the new year, and the transfer window is done. We're into the start of February. I've made one signing, but I thought today is going to be a little bit of a recap. We're going to go dive into the analytics of the team. I've also made several little tactical tweaks. There was a few big tweaks, and then I've brought it back in and just done little tweaks. Try and get the best out of this Go Ahead Eagles, and just try and talk about the difference between setting a really good tactic and then just being a little bit more realistic with the quality of players that we've got. I think I got a little bit carried away after about 5 or 6 games and maybe thought we were better than we actually were. Alright guys, with that being said, let's get into today's video. Today is one of 3, Monday, Wednesday and Sunday. Wednesday we are going to look at recruitment, in particular what's going to happen for Season 2, what we need to bring in, and a load of filters that you yourselves can download ready to put in your FM saves. Alright guys, let's get into it. Smash a like on today's video, let's get into the Eagles. Alright, so today is NEC. We're going to do that game at the end. As you can see, if I head on to the main league table, we are in 10th with a game in hand, 9 points clear over 11th. So you would have thought we will be okay. I expect we will finish no lower than 10th. If we do, we've had a really shocking end on the second half of the season. We have 30 points. A win today does take us up potentially into 6th place in and around the Europa League places. Now, if you look at our positions, we've never been really over the last, 15 games. We've been up and down, 8th, 9th, got as high as 7th. We've just been smashed by PSV, who are the league leaders. However, as you can see in the thumbnail, we did beat Ajax 2-1 at the Johan Cruyff Arena. I will show you the goals. Look, they did batter us. 1.91 to our 1.13. However, their goal was an absolute thunder bastard from Steven Berghuis. And by the way, Steven Berghuis is a player that I'm looking at potentially, probably in his 30s. He did start his career at Go Ahead Eagles, and I've actually got his brother in the recruitment team. So there is his strike, decent strike from the edge of the area. We were underneath, we were having a lot of pressure against us, but Bergen scored 2 really good goals for us. Burden, should I say. There's the first one, smash it in. A couple of nice worked passes, and there he is. He sets up the ball, we get the seconds. Mettello, lovely low cross, and there he is inside, inverted winger on support, getting in at the back stick. We did create decent chances, 1.13. Now, we have made, if we just very quickly look at the tactic, we've made several changes to the tactic. By the way, if you didn't see on Twitter last night, we have signed Diego Tardelli. Now, the idea of the save is that we sign youngsters and try and develop them, move them on, make a profit so we can eventually make the squad stronger. However, we really struggled. I thought we were really struggling with the deep line forward because we've changed from a target man to a deep line forward. I thought we just needed a little bit more technical quality. As you can see, the technicals of Vin Stockers aren't great. Vision 12, work rate's good, teamwork's good. Strength, not great either. 5'11", 12, you know, there's a lot of attributes in there, there's a lot of attributes in there, not quite up to standard. And I thought, well, look, we were going to try and sign a striker. We're going to talk about the striker in Wednesday night's episode, just to try and recruit the star that we need to really link everything together. And also, I think we still, even though he's on a deep line forward and support, we could do with a few more goals. Now, we have signed Diego Tardelli. Only to the end of the season. I offered him, he didn't want to come for 6 months, but I just thought it was important. So we gave him a £40,000 signing on fee to get it over the line. He's here for 6 months. Finishing, first touch, passing, which is good, technique, vision, which is good. Obviously, balance and strength. He is 37, but I'm just asking him to link the player. And he does it pretty well. You know, he's got an XG, expected goals of 0.53, XG of 0.27. His statistics are quite similar, 90% passing, so his statistics are at the moment quite similar to Finn Stockers, who has an expected assists of 1.57 and he's assisted twice, expected goals of 7, and he's scored 5. So he is below his expected goals and he's slightly lower on the passing. So it may work long term for us. I have changed it in particular. Now, what we are coming up against, if we just dive into the data, we're not scoring many goals. Goals per game, 1.16, so we're under the average for that. We're above average in the pass completion, which is good. What about conceded? Yeah, we're just under the conceded. There's not many goals kicking about in the division at the moment, we have scored 22 in 19 and only 23 conceded. I would love that to be no more than 34 to finish off the season after we've played 34 games. So so obviously a goal per game. And hopefully we'll get into a positive goal difference. Okay, attacking efficiency is an issue. Shots per game is quite low. Mid-table, I suppose, where you'd expect. And the conversion rate is obviously quite low. So passive shooting and wasteful shooting at the same time. So we're not being clinical and we're still not creating enough chances, which I thought was kind of maybe based on the amount of passes we were potentially having. But if we go into the league stats and compare ourselves against other teams, so our possession stats are 6th, and that is on the increase, which I'll talk about in a little bit about the tweaks that we've made to the tactic. There's the expected goals. Ajax leading with 40. There's a big drop off here, and we're in and around, once again, in and around mid-table 9th and 10th. So I suppose we're aiming for where we're at. However, there's one statistic that really sticks out. We're the most efficient in terms of possession loss. So when we're getting it, we're keeping it, which is really good. High intensity sprints are up there as well, up with the top boys. These are a bit of a, we're not far off. When again, I suppose we're in around that mid-table, that 7th, sort of like 10th area where we've been up and down throughout the season. This one, now we have dropped a little bit. We were second by about 30, 40 passes. However, we have played a game less than AZ Alkmaar, so we maybe go above them. Final third passes, we are right up there with the big boys. So we're getting the ball into the right areas. Maybe a little bit of a lack of quality. And also, what we've changed is asking them to be a little bit more expressive. So if we go back into the tactic, into the team instructions, we've clicked on dribble less. I want us to get that possession stats up a little bit more. I've also brought the tempo down from a little bit lower, or slightly lower, to lower. And I've also got be more expressive on the hope that just in that attacking third, I don't think we've got the best players in terms of creativity. Like Bobby Adikanye is really good, but, creativity-wise, he's not great. He's getting on the end of things. 8th for the season, really happy with him. Our Register Romans has done okay himself, getting himself 6 goals and 3 assists. Passing 13, vision 12. These are not statistics that you would expect, attributes that you'd expect to really unlock defences in the top tier. We've got a 37-year-old up front. Burden on the left-hand side is all about his pace. I am thinking next season that we try and get, we maybe get someone who's a little bit more athletic as the number 9. And let this person be like a Trequartista who could just drift around the pitch. So we might get that player in his early 30s that maybe his physicals have dropped off, but I don't think the defensive side of it is a problem. We're quite secure at the back. We haven't conceded many goals. Maybe, if we can get it, all depend on recruitment and what we can get for that role there. Okay, so back into here, more expressive, dribble less, working into the box as well, even though we've got good crosses of the ball. I've just put that on so we don't rush it. A lot of the times we've only had one man in the box and it's been cleared out and there's a transition. So we're trying to stop that. And we do play it in the box, but once again, with that clicked on in the final third, it just does it at the right time. And I think it waits for the Volante to get in there, the other player on the other side of the pitch to get in there, maybe a Kanye, Burden, both getting in the box together. In transition, we've done nothing. We've kept it as it is. Out of possession, we've done nothing as well. Now, one couple of changes. We've really struggled with this role here. I'm going to put a little screenshot up now, if I can find it. Fingers crossed I can find it. When we were playing with the Roman playmaker, and this was happening a lot, where they were both getting sucked towards the ball. And I also thought we were a little bit passive in terms of getting bodies into the box. Yes, the Register does get there on occasions, but I thought we needed another role from deep. Now, I had it on support to start with. I've had deep line playmaker, but once again, we just weren't obviously getting that movement up into the box. We went with an isometrical one like this for a little bit, where we had a box-to-box, but I just wanted to get in that bank of 4, that double pivot in when we lose the ball as quickly as possible. And even though he's on attacking, if he gets the opportunity to get back in, he does get it back in. Obviously, look, if he gets in the box and there's a turnover and we lose it a header out, we have got the Register. My main little worry at times is because the Register is not in the middle of the pitch, he kind of sits in this area here. And then if there's, say, a ball from the left and he gets cleared onto this right-hand side, onto our right-hand side, onto the opponent's left-hand side, he then isn't really in a position to sort of like recycle. So that's my little gripe at the moment. And I've tried to counteract that with changing these here. Now, I am considering changing the rules as well of the ball-playing defenders onto just central defenders. We've got them on ball-playing defenders because I wanted dribble more. I wanted them to carry with it. I wanted them to be quite progressive with it. However, I'm not seeing a massive amount of dribbles. What I am seeing more of at the moment is when they've got time on the ball. Yes, if they're under pressure, you sometimes got to go along. But sometimes they're on the ball. There's no one around them. I'd rather them go back to the goalkeeper and reset, and they just punt it up long. And when we've got a deep line forward on support, very often the ball is either flicked on if he wins it, or it gets turned over, they win the ball back, and they play. And we don't want that. We want to control the game with us on the ball as much as possible. So my idea is that we may put them onto ball-playing defenders, central defenders on defend. We will lose that dribble more because that's not an option we could choose for the defenders. However, it may stop that. So we'll see. A couple of games away from making a change. And at the same time, we have put Libero in. Now, the idea was that if the Volante then goes up into this area here, that then the Libero can come in and help. I didn't want to do attacking. I think the Libero is playing slightly different than what it has done in previous years. Even on support, I've normally seen them getting into these areas when the opponents have maybe got a turnover and we're dominating, maybe the ball's going into the area, crosses in. He's normally in and around these areas. I haven't seen it yet. So something to just be aware of, tweaks to be made. I think it's important that we keep tweaking this tactic and not really focus on the players that we've got. I think I'm happy now. I'm currently happy with what we've got at the moment. I think this will see us through to the end of the season, and then we'll look at reshaping things. I'm happy with I think in here as well, I'm happy with the Regista and Williamson as that double pivot going forward. Williamson is 6 foot, so he's a big lad. He's 6'4", decent all-rounder. I think he kind of suits the Volante where he's got the engine to get into the box. We've also changed the wide players as well. We have got Burden sitting narrower, and I have taken and Adikanye, but because he's on attack, I still thought at times our average positions for the wing-backs weren't high enough, even though the class is wing-backs on attack. So I thought I would change it. So we've gone with Kuipers as a wing-back on attack. Because Burden is going to come into these areas a lot, it gives him the opportunity to do that. And I just thought because Adikanye is on attack, we'll just put him on support. And I'm quite happy. We do seem to be dominating games a little bit more. And we have got as well a tactic number 2. So this was used in the 3-0 win over AZ Alkmaar. All right, so this is the match momentum, and we made our change in and around late stages of the first half. In this period here, obviously we had a really good start, but then they took over, and I think they took over because of the tactic that they were playing. 4 at the back, a sitter and Jordi Classy, 2 central midfielders, 2 10s, and then a number 9, which made they had a big overload, a sort of like, I suppose, in the middle of the pitch, even at times like a 5v2, because obviously our player, even though we've got Adikanye and Burden as wide players, we are asking them to sit narrow, but it wasn't enough. So we changed to tactic number 2, which was this one here, with Burden then coming off, Williamson, I think, going into the central midfield, and having 2 players up front together. Adikanye played as a presser, and Tardelli played as a deep line forward, and it worked really well. We had a really good result, ended up winning 3-0. Williamson getting 2 goals from central midfield. When did we make, I wonder when we made that actual change. There, we made it really early. We actually made it on 29 minutes. Proactive management, I think, and it worked out in favour. Let's see the goals. And by the way, Romans as well on the score sheet. Register. Look where he ends up getting on the end of to score his 3rd goal. So a good press here from Williamson. He goes through. It's a really good strike. Him just playing a little bit higher up the pitch. Obviously, the Volante ceased to sit in when it went out the ball, obviously. And then we're off again. Diego Tardelli getting an assist. There is my Register. That's the only time that I've seen him really get forward. And then to finish it off, Williamson again. Stocker's coming on as substitute for Tardelli. Just pulling it about, and there's Williamson, box to box. And with that box to box midfielder role, we have got him getting further forward. So those are the results for you to look at. I think we're playing better at times against the stronger teams. What I am doing here in particular, we absolutely battered these. They had a little spell towards the end where they had a go. But I think what we need to do is just be a little bit more proactive. Obviously, we're unbalanced at the moment, and some point, I think, when we're playing games that we're expected to win, I'm just going to put it sometimes onto positive and attacking at certain points, just to see if we can be, yes, our possession stats, we may get more turnovers. I think we're okay in transitions with the 3 at the back. We aren't seem to be conceding goals. We're also going to look at Sunday's episode. We're going to dive in and look at how we are conceding and how we are scoring our goals. So something we're going to look at, maybe a 10-match segment where we're going to go through each game, just look at the goals very quickly and just see if there's any patterns. Okay, so that is Sunday's episode. But as I said, with mentality, we may just tweak that early on in games, especially when we're coming against some of these teams now near the bottom are playing with some really deep low blocks. So we do need to just make sure at times we're a little bit more daring, a little bit more risky with the ball. Okay, let's get into today's game. We will play it on extended highlights. I have been very lucky that because I had my mini little break, go check out the YouTube post that I did on Friday, just explaining how the channel is going to change over the course, hopefully for the next few months and hopefully years, and what I want to do and how I want the channel to be. I've had the opportunity to have a rest, play it in the extended highlights, and it has really helped. We're just developing this tactic. Just see what patterns we could see. Let's keep our eye on those 2 ball-playing defenders in particular. Are they going to cause me a problem? Let's keep our eye on the double pivot as well. Are they getting back in when there's that loss of possession? And also that libero there, is he getting into these areas? Is he helping us recycle the ball? I don't really want to put him on attack because I think it's a little bit too much. Okay, we'll see what they'll do. We are big favourites to win. I think they're second bottom or something, so we're expected to win. This is the problem here. So this is what we need to be aware of because they've got pretty much a 5v2 in there. I know our inverted winger, so we'll just have to see what our 2 wide players do. We may have to change it to the second tactic. We'll give it a go to start because we should be the dominant team in this game. We weren't against DZ Altman. We had to change. So we'll just see. We'll give it maybe only 20 minutes. And the only thing is we have to make a substitution because Burden can't do any central roles. Okay, first highlight. There's Lasse Shoney. He's a great player. We're a good player to get in that double pivot. I think he's a little bit too old now. But I do really want to get, as I said, Wednesday's episode, we're really going to talk about recruitment and the style of player that I want in each position. Because I think the tactic now is kind of its own, and we aren't going to be changing tactic each season. We're going to be looking at recruiting. Ideally, for this, they're going to score here. Oh, they've hit the post. Ideally, for just this tactic. Maybe a little bit of flexibility with maybe some of the roles, and some of them maybe they have scored. We're 1-0 down after 6 minutes. The keeper's had a little bit of a mare there because he didn't even jump. He's stretching his shoulder. He's stretching his shoulder. I have got a Nigerian keeper that I'm looking at. That's come up in my scout reports. I think not an agent report, should I say. Right, a long looping ball in. See there, why is FM not getting that goalkeeper to jump? Not the start we wanted, was it? Right, we're on the ball. So there's the libero. He kind of doesn't really get... See, here, I really want him to be... If I was coaching in real life, I would ask him to shuffle across because he's got no danger. Amorpha to struggle to cross. And I would prefer Bakker to be a little bit higher. Right, let's see where this highlight goes. Burden. He's done well. Done very well. Oh, Diego Tardelli, there was a tap in there for you, buddy. If you really wanted it, there was a tap in there for you. And now they've broke on us, but we've got men behind the ball. We should be okay. Ooh, Jesus, goalkeeper. Mulder's contract is out at the end of the season, but he is Dutch. And I also think he's 33. It says he's still in his prime. He's doing okay, but I do like the look of this Nigerian keeper. Right, Romans with the corner. Williamson's there. Unlucky. By the way, I have taken off my strike. I forgot to say for the Diego Tardelli role as well. I've taken off marking the DM, so it gets him a little bit higher. I've also taken off marking the centre halves. We no pressing for the centre halves. We've taken that off as well, so we can press them, but I'm not asking him to do it all the time. And I've asked him to hold position. I don't want him roaming into channels. I don't want him to do that. I want him to stay central and be still that figurehead number 9. Now, this is a little issue as well. We haven't been caught out much with it. When we go through the goals on Sunday, you'll notice that obviously we're very compressed because we're asking to squeeze up the pitch as much as possible, and we haven't got a really high pressing in there. My only worry would be that it'd be too easy for the balls to be clipped over. We're not having that yet, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen at some point. Teams are not really using that long ball. They're still trying to play, and we've been okay with it. I don't think we've conceded many chances with it. However, right now, look, I think we're in trouble here. I think we're in trouble. So what we are going to do is we're going to change it. We're going to do it early. Burden's going to be furious, isn't he? But it needs to be done. Diago Telly, I tell you what, we're going to play Adi Kanye as well as a advanced forward. He's got the pace to get in behind. We've struggled here because these are, what, second bottom? So something that I think we need to be aware of. We've dominated the ball, but obviously with that massive gap in the middle of midfield where they've got that overload, we've got to change things. Right, this is good football. Mattelio. Williamson over the bar. Mattelio again. Cleared. We'll get it back. Romans. Kuipers. Needs a little bit of help. He's going to go himself. I think he is. I've asked him to get, obviously, that byline with a complete wing-back on attack. Lindhorst is there. He should have scored. That's an absolute sitter. That's the Volante getting in there. Okay, so there you can see they're quite narrow. It's that overload in that box there. If we look at the centre circle, look, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players to our 3 in there. So at times, maybe even a 6v3. So that's obviously a worry. And obviously, as well, the 99 is Diego Tardelli, our striker. And we don't really want him dropping too deep. Okay, we're going to change it to positive. Just see if we could be a little bit more daring in possession. I'm going to say that I'm angry. And see if we can have a better second half. This would be a really poor result to come back to, boys. But I think we could turn it round in this second half. So I think what we will do is analyse the tactic of the team a little bit. And regardless of where they are in the league, we go to this shape. So it's important, I think, for next season too, that we have 2 strikers. We've kind of got it with Stockers as well. Stockers will come on and do a decent job in the second half for us. But I think it's important that we have 2 really good strikers, I think, next season. Right, Adi Kanye, Lindhorst strikes over. And Adi Kanye can do both. He could do the wide areas. Bergen can't. And I do think we need... I don't really want wingers and wide players. I want tricky, creative players. Burden, who came off, isn't that. I want the pace and the energy to come from Adi Kanye and those 2 wing-backs. Okay, Rouge. And obviously, as well, with the inverted winger, they're going to score again here. So that's a ball over the top. Di Matta, it's 2-0. A bit of a disaster today, boys. Let's have a little look at the goal. So it's a short kick. And there we go. A punt over the top. To be fair, we were kind of there. I maybe think we may change it to a mid-block. But at the same time, he's there, look. He's there. He's lost the libero. And as well, look, he's run past him. Just watch what Baka does. Like, he's got yards on him there. He knows that ball's coming. He knows that ball's going over the top. And he's there. He's just not... He's been shrugged off a little bit. I'm not going to entirely blame that on the tactic, if I'm totally honest. Right, Tardelli's had a bit of a stinker. We're going to change both players up front. Sau and Stockers on. We've had 0.8 XG, that big header from Lindhorst in the second half. We've scored, we've got one. Romans, I think that's his 3rd set piece of the season as well. We're back in it. Can we nick a point? This would be a really disappointing defeat. 55% of the ball, 91% completed passes. Goalkeeper blunder and a ball over the top. So I think we are, as here, the turnover, but I think if we lost the ball in there, I think we are susceptible for that. I think recruitment-wise for our centre-halves, I think pace is going to be a huge thing for us for next season. And then maybe if we can get a better striker, a fitter striker, we may press a little bit more with that central forward. Mattello, Stockers, we could get a goal here. Kuipers on his right foot over the bar. Can we nick an equaliser? Right, Romans with the free kick. Cleared. We've got the second balls. We will. Romans is there. No one's there. The back post. Backer. Lindhorst. Curled it. Just wide. And maybe in the, and maybe against these other teams as well. These teams that I expect us to be at home. Maybe we do change the mentality and go attacking. Or at least on positive and try and push the opposition back. I think when we're playing these other teams, the bigger clubs, maybe we just keep it on balance and it lets us have a little bit more control in the game in terms of not getting dominated on the ball, but at the same time, keeping the ball when we do have it a little bit more. But maybe we can be a little bit more adventurous against teams that we're expected to do better on. Right, Stockers, can we get an equaliser? Last chance. Lindhorst is there and his header just goes wide. That will be it. And we maybe, boys, should have taken at least a point from this game. Every time we get the opportunity to just bounce up the league table, We have not a stinking result. This is a stinking result today. But we just have that result, that just a defeat or a draw, and it stops us moving up the league, and it keeps us in that 9th and 10th. We've been 9th, 10th constantly over the last couple of months, and there you go. That's a really disappointing performance. Is Diamata fast? Yeah, he's got 16 pace. Contract out at the end of the season. We'll add him to shortlist. And maybe we look at someone like that. We maybe go with a presser. Interested, let me know your thoughts, boys. We could maybe go with the presser in there. Someone's going to stretch it. We could press the back line, get us further up pitch. And then we allow this trequartista. We allow this wide player to come into these areas here, potentially. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Right, thank you very much for watching. Please smash a like on today's video. Let me know if you're enjoying the series. Let's talk about tactics down in the comments. I love to get a tactical chat going. And Wednesday night, 9 PM, we're going to look at recruitment for the new season, in particular, probably those pressing forward and trequartista roles. And then Sunday, we're going to have a little look back at our last 10 games and then see what the pattern is with us conceding goals. Do I go to a mid-block? Do we go with a high press? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. See you later.